Hey everyone. In this video, I want to talk to you about how trying to avoid pain can actually be a really bad thing in life. Now, here's what I mean. Ironically, when we try to avoid pain in some situations, it can actually lead to even more pain in the future. A great example of this is when somebody wants to avoid the pain of breaking up with someone who they know is bad for them, so they choose to prolong the inevitable and try to wait out the breakup in that bad relationship. And this is a horrible idea, obviously, because the longer you stay in a bad relationship, the more likely you are to get hurt further down the road because your feelings for that bad partner may increase. But also, you're giving that person, that bad partner, way more time to negatively affect your psyche and your personality. The longer you stay with them, if they're abusive, the more abuse you're going to take. If they're manipulative, the more psychological torture you're going to have to put up with, and so on and so forth. So quite often, that fear of dealing with the pain from the initial breakup and that desire to not enter into conflict or to make that tough decision will lead to more pain down the road. And that's just one example. There are plenty of other situations where this concept holds true in life. So, as a rule, you should train yourself to not be afraid of temporary pain. You have to weigh the price of what's going to happen. Weigh the pain now versus future pain. Is the pain now going to be less than future pain? If so, then make the decision to end things right here and now. In the case of breaking up with someone who's bad for you, I'll probably keep using that example because it's the easiest one to follow. So, in those situations, if you know that you'll deal with less pain in the here and now than in the future, then you should do what's right for you, which is making that tough decision now and not prolonging it. But so many people either don't rationally think about that future potential, and they just don't even realize that by putting off the pain for now that they're going to deal with way more in the future, or they just don't have the courage to make that tough decision here and now, even though they know that it's going to lead to more pain down the road. And both of these situations are just horrible. I wish everyone was taught to have the courage to make these tough decisions because it helps you create such a better life for yourself. It really does, especially because being able to make these tough decisions helps you build mental toughness, which, if you ask me, is incredibly important for living a great life, because I just do not believe people who are mentally weak can create good lives for themselves. I just don't. I truly don't. And I feel like I look around the world today and people are just being almost trained to be mentally weak, or at least that's the only thing I can think of, because there are so many mentally weak people in today's world, and I just don't know why that outcome is happening when it seems like in the past that wasn't quite the case. But anyway, that's a tangent here. So the way you can train yourself to be more mentally tough here so that you can deal with temporary pain in the here and now instead of prolonging things and dealing with more pain in the future is just to start making small, tougher decisions for yourself as often as possible. Start training yourself to be more uncomfortable. And that starts with just literally doing small things. Like, for instance, a lot of people talk about the benefits of taking cold showers. One of them is basically training yourself to handle being uncomfortable on a daily basis in a pretty small way, right? Because showers for most people will last maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So you're dealing with being uncomfortable for 5 to 10 minutes of your day. That is not much, considering how most people are awake for 16 hours? So that's not bad at all. That's a great deal. 5 to 10 minutes to build emotional resilience and mental toughness. But you can also do other things. For instance, when it's slightly cold in your room, you could choose to not wear a jacket. Although in my case, I understand I'm wearing this vest, but it's a bit tough to do these videos if my voice is shaking from me being cold. But when you go outside, you can choose to, on a rainy day, this is a bit brave, but if you could do this, you could choose to go outside without an umbrella. There are just so many things you can do to kind of build that emotional resilience and start creating mental toughness for yourself. Another great one is just working out in general. I would highly suggest that to everyone, both men and women. Working out is just awesome, and it does build mental toughness because there will be days where you don't want to do it, and those are the days where you have to do it, because then you're building that mental toughness. You're saying, hey, my brain is thinking I don't want to do this, but I'm going to force myself anyway, because that is the right solution, and that will be what will help me create a better life for myself. So that's one tip, just doing small things that will build your mental toughness over time. Just take baby steps at first. It really helps. But another thing here is really working on knowing your worth. The reason I say this is because when you know your worth, you are not going to want to do or make decisions that are going to basically be disrespectful to yourself. Like in the situation where if you're in a bad relationship with someone, if you know your worth, you're going to want to get out of that situation as quickly as possible because you know that you deserve better and that the longer you stay in there, you're just hurting yourself. So knowing your worth really helps with steeling yourself, having that courage to make these decisions where, yeah, you're going to take on some temporary pain in the here and now, but that means that you're not going to be accepting a ton of future pain that you don't need to deal with if you just had the courage to make the decision now. And one of the practices that helped me know my worth is one I suggest to everyone, which is take time to basically sit in the question of who am I? Just ask yourself that question in your head in a quiet place for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, at least 3 times a week, and just answer it as honestly as possible. You want to name basically adjectives and personality traits that describe who you are. Are you confident? Are you kind? Are you a good person? Are you mentally strong? Just all sorts of things that describe who you are and make you who you are. You can even name your skills, what kind of things you're good at, that sort of thing. But the important thing is you want to be honest. You don't want to lie to yourself because that doesn't help you. You're going to know that you're lying to yourself in the back of your mind, and that's actually going to hurt your worth and your confidence. So just be real with yourself, but at least practice this, because the more you know yourself, the easier it is to know your worth, because then you actually know what you bring to the table, what you have to offer to other people. And that will help you know what you really deserve in life, so that way you'll get out of situations that are bad for you immediately, even if it means taking on some temporary pain. And one final thing is just, I've been saying this throughout the video, but understand that the pain that you'll be signing up for making these tough decisions today rather than a year from now is temporary. That pain is temporary. It will go away. So don't be afraid of taking it on. That's one of the main reasons why people won't make these tough decisions, because they don't want to deal with that pain. But like I said, then it just builds up over time and you have to deal with it later on anyway. If you're going to have to deal with it anyway, if it's inevitable, then why not take it on now while it's less? Now I know there's a bit of an argument to make where you could say, well, but Josh, what if I deal with it later on? Won't I acquire more mental toughness because it'll be more pain to deal with? Maybe, but don't do that. That's stupid. Do not do that. Don't take that, that's almost too extreme. Do not take that route. And I understand most people probably won't, at least not on purpose. They'll do it by accident because they just don't want to deal with the pain here and now. But like I said, that pain is temporary. So know that going into it. It won't last forever. So don't be afraid of it. Just know that you have the courage and the mental toughness to deal with it. Think about everything else up until now that you've made it through in your life. I don't know what you've been through, but you do. I'm sure you've been through some things that you didn't think you'd be able to get through. Remember that every time you're afraid of making these tough decisions. Just remind yourself of all the things you've lived through up till now. Remind yourself of the strength that you already possess. So many people forget this fact, and that's why I'm telling you to remind yourself as much as possible, because that will also really help you steel yourself when making these tough decisions. So anyway, I truly hope that these tips help, because it's just so ironic how we can try to avoid pain and then end up signing up for more in the future and we don't even realize it. So I wanted to make a video to touch on this, because I don't want this to happen to any of you awesome people out there. Anyway, I hope this video helped, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!